All right, so I am going to show how you can run George using an LLM that's running in the mobile LLM that is running in the cloud. And my end-to-end tests have George fill out a form and hit submit. And if they filled out the form with the correct items, we'll get a success message. Otherwise, if the LLM failed, we'll get a failure message when they submit the form. So what we need to do here is we need to actually create a new instance of George, passing it the Vision LLM URL, and then also provide an auth token that will be used to communicate with that endpoint. And for this, we're going to use runpod.io. They let you rent a bunch of GPUs. This is what I used when I initially got into running LLMs before buying some hardware to run them locally. So assuming that you have an account, we can go ahead and go to the pod section and we'll click deploy. What we need is a 4090, and we will use the template that is VLLM latest. But we do need to edit this template, and we need to make it so that it is going to use the uh, Hugging Face model that we want, which is Molmo 7 billion, uh, and then also provide an API key. I generated this myself for this demo. You'll want to generate something that is unique to you. I'm going to give the container or the virtual machine a little bit more space and set the overrides. So now all we need to do is click deploy on demand. It will take a few minutes to download everything and get things running. But once we have that, we should be able to get started. In the meantime, while this is setting up, I'm going to provide my API key to George, and I'm going to just cut and paste the initial override settings that we had before, and we'll wait until that VM spins up so that we can have the URL. All right. All right, the VLLM server is running internally on port 8000, and once that server is up and ready and healthy and able to receive requests, this button will return green, and we can get the URL that is needed for us to call the Molmo LLM through the LLM. So we'll give that a few minutes. And okay, so looks like the service is ready. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that URL and go back to my code where I can paste it in. I'm going to delete that forward slash at the end. And what we'll do is go ahead and kick things off. So before we can do that, I'm going to run the end-to-end server. So again, this is just a server that's going to uh, have the form that we're going to fill out. And if we fill out the form correctly, once we hit the submit button, it'll display success or failure. So I'll go ahead and get that started. And then finally, we're going to run the end-to-end main.rs that you see here in the background. So before I hit enter, I want to describe what's going to happen. What this will do is this will create a new instance of George, which will create a Docker container, which will open up the end-to-end server, specifically in Firefox in the URL, and it'll fill out the form. And it'll also give us a URL that we can go to and see what's happening in real time inside the Docker container. All right, so we can go to this URL here and give it a go. So this will run this same test 5 times in a row. So we have a few opportunities to check it out. So I'm going to go ahead and see that. So as you can see, George is already interpreting the screen correctly and filling out the form. So now it's going to hit submit. And this is all using the LLM that is running within RunPod. So feel free to take this example that I have here and build it out to whatever you desire.